Hey, so let's talk about discipline. And I know what you're thinking, but this is not going to be another lecture about waking up at 5 a.m. or taking ice cold showers. Nope, we're going way deeper. We're going to explore how discipline is really the master tool for building the very core of who you are, your character. So let's get into it. Right off the bat, I want to ask you something. What if everything you've ever thought about discipline, the rigid schedules, the tough guy stuff, what if that's just the tip of the iceberg? What if the real deal is something much, much more personal and a whole lot more powerful? And this right here, this really gets to the heart of it. We always mix up the symptoms of discipline with the actual source. You see, waking up early isn't the point. Studying daily isn't the point. The real point, the true engine behind it all, is so much simpler. It's about keeping the promises you make to yourself. It's about doing what you said you would do. And that promise you make to yourself, well, that's what we're going to be focusing on. This has nothing to do with impressing your boss, your friends, or anyone on social media. This is that private internal contract you sign with yourself every day. And that contract, that is the engine that builds real, unshakable self-respect. So here it is. This is the definition we're working with. Real discipline is simply doing what you said you would do long after the mood you set it in has vanished. That moment when you don't feel like it, but you do it anyway, that's it. That's the moment where character is forged. And check out how this process works. It all starts with one small choice. You control that little urge to quit, to hit snooze, to skip the gym. Every time you win that tiny battle, it's like doing a rep for your mental muscle. And over time, that muscle gets stronger and stronger until it's not just a muscle anymore. It's genuine earned self-respect. So how does this actually change you? Let's break down the 7 core transformations that happen when you start making this a daily practice. And these aren't just little habit changes, okay? These are fundamental shifts in your personality, in your confidence, and in how you show up in the world. All right, we've got 7 of them to get through. Let's kick it off with the very first one. The very first thing that happens is a huge power shift inside your own mind. You stop being a passenger on the wild roller coaster of your feelings, and you become the one driving the car. You start making conscious decisions about where you're headed instead of just letting your mood dictate everything. And just look at the difference in that internal voice. One side says, I'll do it when I feel like it, which, let's be honest, might be never. The other side says, I'll do it because I decided to. One is passive, the other is powerful. It's the voice of a leader, starting with leading yourself. Okay, transformation number 2 is a big one. It's something we're all chasing, confidence. But listen, this isn't that fake, rah-rah motivational hype. This is real, earned, rock-solid confidence that comes from one place and one place only, proof. Let's look at how you build it. It all starts right here. You just put in the work, day in, day out, especially when it's boring, and especially when you don't see results right away. This is the foundation. And then, something kind of magical starts to happen. That effort starts to compound, and you see a little bit of progress, then a little more. And suddenly, it's not just a hope or a dream anymore. You have actual, tangible evidence. You've got the data. And that proof, man, that proof is everything. It's what silences that little voice of doubt in your head. You don't have to tell yourself you can do it anymore. You know you can, because you've got this whole library of past wins to look back on. Now that is real confidence. Now, transformations 3 and 4 are totally connected. Discipline sharpens your focus, and it teaches you patience. I mean, think about it. We live in a world that is screaming for your attention 24/7. Discipline is the filter that helps you ignore all that noise. And when you're focused, you start to understand that real results take time. The side effect? All that impatience, that anxiety, that overthinking, it just starts to melt away. You become calm, composed, unshaken. This next one, this one is deep. Every time you say you're going to do something and then you don't, a little part of you starts to believe that you're just wasted potential. But when you start keeping those small promises to yourself, you are literally rewriting that story. You stop seeing yourself as the person who could do things, and you start seeing yourself as the person who does things. And that leads to this incredible shift. You stop looking for validation from other people. You don't need the likes, you don't need the applause, you don't need anyone's permission, because you've already earned the respect of the single most important person, you. So all of this internal change, it eventually leads to these last 2 transformations, which create this really powerful external result. You just naturally separate yourself from the crowd. Why? Because while most people are just talking about their goals, you're quietly putting in the work. That quiet consistency, that lack of needing attention, it makes you different. You stand out without even trying to. I mean, this chart really says it all, doesn't it? 90% of people are out there talking about it, only 10% are actually doing something about it, day in and day out. Just by deciding to be in that 10%, you become remarkable. Okay, so what does this all add up to? When you put all these pieces together, what's the final result? Let's talk about the character that you end up building. Here's the fascinating part. When people meet you, they're not going to say, "Wow, that person is so disciplined." No, they're going to use other words. They'll see your calm control and call it charisma. They'll see your earned self-belief and call it confidence. They'll see your ability to ignore distractions and call it focus. They're seeing the effect, but you know the cause. And this really brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? The respect you get from the world is just a mirror, a direct reflection of the respect you have for yourself. And that self-respect is built brick by brick, one kept promise at a time. If there is one thing you walk away with today, I want it to be this. Motivation is a spark. It's great, it gets you started, but it burns out fast. Discipline is the engine. It's the thing you build, piece by piece, that keeps you going long after that spark is gone. It doesn't just get you somewhere, it changes who you are along the way. So I'll just leave you with this one question. It doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering thing. It can be small, it can be tiny, but what is one promise, just one, that you will make and keep for yourself today? Because that, right there, that's where it all begins. Thanks so much for joining me.